intrigue, morality, the human connection to the supernatural around us all culminate into a journey I was left breathless by. Stalker is a series I only recently picked up when the original titles were bundled together earlier this year for Xbox and PlayStation. The Stalker franchise of games is notorious for gunfights, where a single bullet can end a run, just as much as its glitchy nature. The atmosphere and sound design exploring decrepit vistas and monuments that the majority of the world will never be able to see in person. All of this above, combined with an authenticity to real-world issues plaguing Ukraine, it's hard to discuss the creation of this title without at least referencing the fact that this studio worked for years in an active Warzone to finish it.
1-1-3.
Здесь кипела работа, идеи, она не останавливалась. 3 месяца назад началась война России с Украиной.
Днем сирена, днем еще работать надо, поэтому особо не выйдешь, а вечером все время вот так.
Це моя робоча.
Так работаю в перерывах между сиренами і волонтерськими задачами.
Світ ще побачить, наскільки в нас класна культура, і в тому числі, наскільки класні ігри ми можемо робити.
Меня зовут Александр, я являюсь сотрудником компании ЖСК. Я с Мариуполя. С начала боевых действий была потеряна связь с моими родными и близкими. И это непередаваемое, ужасное чувство, когда ты не знаешь, живы они или нет.
So after all of these years with long periods of stagnation, does Stalker 2 deliver as a game? It is not without its faults, but the whole is an expansive journey into all the fears and horrors of humanity beyond a single lifetime that resonates with you. Those moments of action are brief when looking at the entire experience, but those lone firefights can feel like an eternity. It's those long stretches of exploration where nothing major happens, isolated in a destructive and irradiated landscape with only your thoughts about the wars within. That fear if your gear will keep you alive throughout the next encounter, and the uncertainty on what the future will hold. What would you stand for in the zone? Stalker 2 is a masterclass in atmospheric storytelling within a world that's as horrifying as it is mesmerizing.
Скіфе, радий тебе бачити, друже. Валимо звідси. Ви тільки погляньте на це. Край, чарівний край черемоша і прута. Ти моя любов. Ти рідна матінко моя, жива.
Координати закинув. Поквапся.
ти. Усі ці жертви, усі ці смерті. Який в них сенс? Зона така, якою бачиш її ти. Я ж показав тобі, якою я її бачу. Іди своїм шляхом, і тоді ти зможеш побачити зону по-своєму.
There is a main story for this title, but first let me give you a brief rundown. The Zone keeps hundreds of secrets and thousands of stories, revealing them only to the bravest and most dexterous. Starting as a lone stalker, we explore a unique post-apocalyptic world and decide who will get a bullet and who is worthy of your helping hand. It is certain many choices and actions will have their own, sometimes far from obvious consequences. No shade, but unlike Dying Light 2's dictees of choices impacting the world in real time, only for the changes to be minute and major ones saved for the final 2-3 hour stretch, Stalker 2 will have choices play throughout the entire adventure. Every few hours, I found myself patting my own back while simultaneously cringing at choices I made with further context added down the line. We're aiming to be a savior and a faithful friend, or perhaps the figure for Stalker's campfire legends. Maybe to carry out profitable missions for those who are in control of the Zone. You are free to be anyone here, including yourself.
I was attacked while on a job. I got hit in the head, and when I woke up, I was in almost nothing but my birthday suit.
Here's your bolt.
Why the hell would I need a bolt?
Take a look around.
Crap.
Door! Open the door!
Now, a major stigma of Stalker is how each faction will interact with one another and how they treat you based on decisions you make and who you side with. There are returning factions from the previous games alongside some new and exciting groups I dare not spoil. What you have here are narrative Legos of sort, in which your character can interact and build relationships with any faction they choose, each with their own perks and consequences, making certain parts of the map and sections of the game more hostile or safe over the course of the runtime. You'll find that many of the threads from previous titles, with subtle nods to the past, aim at what was actually canon prior. A huge emphasis on this game's storytelling is about crafting what the world means to you in the mass skirmishes and wars happening within the Zone. The role-playing for this game is tenfold. The Zone itself being a fictional take on the real-life Chernobyl meltdown that occurred. You sense the historical nature as you explore the area for artifacts and companionship, all with the knowledge that bullets may start flying, or something worse lurking in the dark. This game is a first-person shooter. Shocker, right? We're like 10 minutes into this video. And the immersive sim elements all carry over and have been enhanced tenfold. The weight you carry on yourself with the gear on your back will play into stealth and traversal. Do you go lightweight for speed and to maintain stealth, or more cumbersome to tank out environments and combat that radiation packet? The weight and impact of each gun combined with the sound design makes those firefights in wide open vistas or the not so vacant underground labs all the more memorable. Sometimes it's those simple moments where you're facing 3 enemies, only for your gun to jam and a storm then kicks in. All of a sudden, the tide of the battle shifts and you have to adapt on the fly. Then, as you get through with the skin of your teeth, your last bullet casing falls to the ground as you pull that trigger with nothing left in your gun, and you survive a skirmish only to realize those that were fighting you may not have been so bad. Moments like these happen more than you would realize in the zone, and they stick with you for quite some time. Now, these moments, for example, these Legos, it's going to be different for every person and every playthrough. Outside of some scripted events, and there are some really well done events in this game, I may add, there are some exceptional set pieces. A lot of the game is organic with how the world will interact with you. But when these elements hit, it brings a whole new level of interactivity to FPSs. The production quality of this game is top-notch, from the graphical overhaul of locations from the past, those internal buildings with more detail than ever, what were cardboard boxes due to tech limitations in the previous entries now provide a level of authenticity to the fully realized environments thanks to Unreal Engine 5, 5.5, whatever you want to call it. The game looks fucking good. It's not as good as the initial trailers were to reveal, but just like Ghost of Tsushima, the way it's scaled down does not detract from the overall aesthetic as well as how decent the game runs. Now, games like Alan Wake 2, Silent Hill 2 have a level of photorealism that is easy to appreciate, also like The Last of Us. And Stalker 2 does the same thing, further enhancing the exploration aspect of the title. Every building tells a story, both prior and during the Chernobyl incident, which is up to the player to get out of whatever they put in. The cast from each faction also delivers standout performances, making some of the later decisions gut-wrenching as lines divide within the zone on what is best for everyone moving forward.
A good man is always on time for lunch.
Who said I'm a good man?
Richter, and the guys from the detention center. And me, Scar. So you've seen an anomaly outside the zone.
That's why I'm here.
I've heard the rumors, but never firsthand. And I've got a funny feeling there's more trouble to come.
Jesus.
This is the dark side of the zone. But there's another. The shining side. It's here all around us, but we cannot see it. I wonder what's out there. Eternal spring? The Klondike of artifacts? A new home? Or our heart's desires?
Direct allusions to politics which can be felt in today's world. Oh, and then there are the mutant encounters. The horror elements pair nicely with the topics at hand, and the 3 main enemies in this title are a rock, paper, scissors dream come true for gamers. Human AI, which is powered by an updated AI pathfinding system that in most cases makes the firefights give an illusion to surrealism I haven't seen since Fear. Then you have the monsters, which, while more one-dimensional in their methods for attack, add another rift into how to dispatch them, especially as their powers change over the game's runtime. And finally, we have the anomalies, supernatural powers that have grown since the original Chernobyl explosion, and these things can cause some serious frickin' damage. What makes the open world endearing as a gamer are these pieces all can interact with each other at any time, making for some truly unforgettable encounters.
Shit's gonna go down at the Institute.
All of which pairs well with the customization of weapons, gear, resources, and tools of the trade. Everything from a standard issued pistol to a random lug bolt can be the difference between life and death. And I still recall moments where I was completely out of ammo, bleeding to death onto my last bandage, only for an anomaly to come in and just save the day, or only for 2 random mutants to come on in, disorganize the bandits that were chasing me to give me enough time to escape on my own, only to then circle back around once there was 2 or 3 guards left and quietly take them out. Moments like that show just how powerful the organic nature of this title is. Now, after one playthrough, it is hard to tell how other choices, both organic and scripted, with other factions will play out, but the setup for choices is powerful. Some you will know ahead of time, but others will come out of nowhere, shocking you and making you think about the choice made 10 hours prior. There's a sense of companionship and betrayal that hits hard within the zone, since the enemy of my enemy in most cases becomes the friend that helps you survive another day. Which, if all of this sounds too good to be true, that's because, to be frank, sometimes it is. The fact the game runs as well as it does when years of development occurred in a Warzone is astounding. But frames can have some issues during some of the heavier weather effect based scenes. I also had a fair amount of screen tearing internally inside facilities. Human AI can get stuck in ruts that can break immersion, but at the same time can be a get out of jail free card with how unforgiving the world of Stalker is. Then pacing. With the open world, it's not always spot on. Now, I have prefaced before, this game is what you put into it, but just like other hunting simulators like Call of the Wild, there will be extensive amounts of time where not a whole lot is happening and you're left to soak up the atmosphere, which is incredible. Stalker 2 is a much slower paced experience than the generation of FPS lovers may be accustomed to in previous cycles. But there are some less than stellar mission design, especially in the second, third to later half of the journey, that tend to overstay their welcome, with some feeling as if the creative world needed a bit more TLC with how you actually interact with it, evolving from the formula in the previous Stalker titles rather than maintaining the status quo. Even then, the whole narrative finds a way to stick the landing and makes each character moment feel worthwhile. The 20, 30, 40 plus hour adventure here is justified, and with the end of my experience and runtime, I felt like the zone had made me take a look back at who I am as a person and evolve my mindset for how I look at certain scenarios. I may even go back and play this game another time, which, to be frank, in a lot of these choose-your-own-adventure style storytelling titles, I don't do a whole lot. I kind of play the same way, and I like to kind of make that my concrete path. You know, that part of me in the game. However, this is a title I'm interested in experimenting with. Every gunfight, from major revelations with faction leaders to unscripted campfires with the ones battling within the trenches, every gunfight heightened, each building a story to remember, and you as the Stalker, making their story within the world unknown. Stalker 2 gets 5 nail-biting gunfights out of 5.
Я Дмитро Ясенєв, розробник Сталкера. Ніколи не міг уявити, що в 21 столітті в центрі Європи може статися повномасштабна війна.
Я Олексій Іванов, ком'юніті-менеджер проекту Stalker 2. Зі зброєю в руках захищаю свою країну від російської агресії.
Привіт, я Макс, наративний дизайнер гри Stalker 2. Після перемоги я до неї повернуся.
Побачимось на релізі. Слава Україні!
Ну, не знаю.